Good morning, kids. Welcome to English is Fun with Miss Serena Hansen. Today we will be learning parts of speech. Do you know what they are? What parts of speech are? We all know that English has hundreds of thousands of words, and every one can be placed into at least one of eight groups or classifications. That is, we can classify every word into one of the eight groups. This system of classifying words based on their function, okay, have it in mind, based on their function is known as the parts of speech. Okay, children, do you know what they are? Okay, and how many of them are there? Okay, the basic parts of speech are eight in number. How many children? Eight. Repeat after me. Eight parts of speech. They are nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Now, would you repeat after me? Nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Okay, that every part of speech tells us what job a word does in a sentence. Remember, a part of speech tells us what job a word does in a sentence. Okay, kids, now let's move on to the first part of speech. Okay, and it is nouns. What is a noun? A noun is a naming word. We all know that. Okay, and it names people, places, and things. Sometimes we have doubts whether the word given is a noun or not. To make it easy for you, I have given you a tabular column to identify nouns. A noun can be a name of a person, a place, a name of an animal, or an object, even substances, even sometimes actions and measures. Measures is nothing but the way you measure an object, okay, or the length, kilogram, centimeter, a day, and even qualities, okay, happiness, honesty, beauty, okay. This is how we can identify whether the given word is a noun or not. Okay, now let's move on to pronouns. What are pronouns? A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. It can replace a person's name or an object's name. Okay, so that is a pronoun. Okay, for example, it can be it, he, she, they. So these words replace the noun. So they are called pronouns. Now let's move on to the next part of speech, and it is verb. Okay, so a verb is the main part of every sentence. We cannot have a sentence without a verb. It will not make sense. Okay, a sentence should have a verb. So what is a verb? A verb is a action word. And if you can do an action, if the word does an action, then it turns out to be a verb. Okay, let's always remember a sentence is not a sentence without at least one verb. Okay, and the verb usually talks about an action, and they are usually or often found in the middle of sentences. Okay, and it may consist of one word or even up to five words. Okay, a verb, so it becomes a word phrase. Okay, and word phrases can be interrupted or stopped by small words like not, never, always, and then verbs change their form, okay, to tell about actions taking place at different times. Changing their forms means from present to past, past to past participle to future. Okay, so this is called the form. The next part of speech is the adjective. Okay, adjectives are words that tell us more about nouns or pronouns in the sentence. It describes, okay, you can say it modifies. Modifies is nothing but it changes, it alters the meaning, okay, the meaning of the another word. Okay, so therefore an adjective, it can limit us to an extent, it changes or alters the meaning of a noun or a pronoun. And remember, it is usually placed before a noun. So let me remind you once again, an adjective gives us more information about a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. Okay, now how can you find adjectives? Okay, look at the examples given here. An adjective is a word that modifies a noun or a pronoun. Okay, an adjective can tell what kind. Okay, for example, if I say clothes, I can say new clothes. And then days, I can say many days, few hours. So the underlined words are all adjectives. Okay, an adjective tells which one or ones. Okay, this book, that restaurant, these computers. And an article, even an article can also be an adjective. A, an, and the. You all know that a, an, and the are articles. Okay, we place it before nouns. And now you are learning that articles can also function as adjectives. So it every part of speech has multiple functions. Okay, so always have that in mind. Okay, the words these, those, they are also called as determiners. Okay, it comes in pronouns. Okay, so here we are using those as adjectives. The next part of speech is the adverb. Okay, now what does an adverb do? How can we find them? Adverbs answer the questions how, when, to what extent, okay, in what manner, how many times, how often, and in what way. Okay, now here are some words that can tell you that these are adjectives. When I say how often, you can say never, sometimes, always, frequently, occasionally. And when I say when, yesterday, today, tonight. When I say where, okay, behind, above, outside. And when I say how, you can say secretly. Okay, you should also remember adverbs usually finish end with an ly. Okay, usually in your lower classes you would have heard that adverbs finish with ly. If it answers the question how, then it finishes with ly. How did he run? Quickly. How did he write? Slowly. How was he behaving? Cheerfully. How is he sitting? Quietly. So most of the adverbs finish with ly, end with ly. Okay, and it also answers the question how much. How much do you want? I want it entirely. How many do you want? I want it. I want just a few. Okay, do you want anything? How much do you want? I want nothing. So these are all adverbs. Let me remind you, adverb is also a part of speech and it describes a verb. It can also describe itself or even describe or modify an adjective. Give more information about an adjective. Okay, children. Now let's move on to prepositions. Okay, it's a very, very important part of speech. Always have it in mind. The more you read, the more familiar you will become with prepositions. Okay, the more you familiarize with prepositions, you will be able to write proper sentences. Okay, beautiful sentences as you grow up. So always learn prepositions. Read a lot of books to learn prepositions. What is preposition? A preposition comes before a noun and it connects it to another part of a sentence. There are three types of prepositions. We say preposition of time, preposition of place, and preposition of direction. There are n number of prepositions that you can use. The only thing that you have to do is you have to learn to identify them and use them correctly in your language to give a proper sense to your sentence. If you change an adjective, if you use a different adjective, okay, that's the meaning of the word will change. Okay, and so you have to read a lot of books. Continuous reading will help you to use proper prepositions. As far the word is concerned, the word itself tells us that it tells us the position of an object in the sentence. Okay, children. Another important part of speech is conjunctions. Okay, conjunctions are they act like glue. Okay, it helps things to stick together. What are these things? Okay, they are nothing but words, phrases, and sentences which are called as clauses. Okay, these sentences are called as clauses because it's part of a sentence. Okay, so conjunctions are like glue, so always have that in mind. It's a glue, okay, that helps us to join words and phrases. Okay, and as I started saying that it's very important, you should also know that there are three types of conjunctions. How many types, children? Three types. And what are they? They are coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunctions. So the first type of conjunction, coordinating conjunction, okay, is remembered when by saying the word fanboys. Okay, it's a mnemonic. Okay, so fanboys is a mnemonic. Okay, it's a shortened form. Okay, kind of to remember the coordinating conjunctions. These coordinating conjunctions are like simple conjunctions. They are for, and, neither, but, or, yet, so. Okay, it is not yes so, it is yet so. Now we have come to the last part of speech, and that's the interjection. Okay, interjection is a word that expresses strong feeling or emotions. Okay, it usually is used in the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes it's even used in the middle. Okay, children. So don't always look for interjections in the beginning. It can also be used in the middle. Okay, here are a list of interjections, and at what point of your conversation would you use? Okay, when you are in doubt or pity or realization or in pain. You know, for pain you usually use ouch. Yes, for surprise we use really. And then for if you're elated or very, very happy, you use hooray. And then for relief, you can use ha. Okay, and for panic you could use oh no. Okay, ha, help. Okay, so these are interjections that we normally use. I'm showing another slide where the meaning of every interjection is mentioned here. Okay, most of us would not have used these interjections. You can use it as you write. These interjections can be used when you're writing a dialogue in a story. Okay, it comes of much use. Have that in mind, children. Children, you should also remember that each part of speech is as important as the other. Okay, you cannot say this part of speech is not important, that is not important. No, every part of speech is very important when you write. Okay, and you should be able to identify them, identify each word as to what part of speech. Only then you know that you have mastered the parts of speech. Okay, and remember it is used in it has multiple uses. Okay, now this is what the slide talks about. Each part of speech explains not what the word is but how the word is used. Okay, the same word can be used as a noun or as a verb or even as an adjective. There are few examples that I've given you here. The word books. Books are made of ink. So when I say books are made of ink, paper and glue, I say that as a noun. But in the second sentence, when I say Bridget's booked a ticket, okay, Bridget books the ticket, the word books here doesn't mean the plural form of a noun. Okay, it acts as a verb. Okay, booking a ticket, a cinema ticket, something like that. So always have in mind that, okay, a word can have multiple functions. Okay, here the word book functions as a noun and a verb. Now I want you to put on your thinking cap and answer these questions. Okay, I've given you 5 sentences. I have given you 5 sentences and I want you to find what the capitalized word stands for. Okay, what part of speech? For example, the word we, then me, then on, next brothers, and next tomorrow. Okay, find the answer, write it to me in a piece of paper, take a snapshot, and send it to my WhatsApp ID, okay, my personal ID. Okay, find the part of speech of the capitalized word. Okay, children, I hope you understood what the parts of speech are and its multiple uses. Bye, children. Have your nice day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.